Kevin Lee was supposed to be the next big thing. People forget, man. I've given that Curry Manchester Gracia. All right, guys. About 30. I don't think he's Indian. If I named my kid and go, don't know. I don't know, man. Thank you for the 17 months of membership. I'll probably take it off tomorrow, but don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll just keep it back on for a bit, just for banter. Don't know. Rate UFC 311, UFC 312, and the Riyadh Fight Night 1 through 10. Oof. The Riyadh Fight Night is a lot better than. 311's the best. 311's the best. Probably a 6 out of 10. Riyadh Fight Night, because it's a fight night, we'll go 6, but it's being outdone. 6.5 for UFC 311. 312 at the moment is being saved by Duplessis, Strickland, and nothing else. So I'll go with a 4 or a 3. Probably a 3. Probably a 2. Let's face it. UFC 312 is arguably a 2 out of 10. Because literally without Duplessis, Strickland, what would that pay-per-view be? 0. So the only thing that's saving it is the main event. And the main event isn't exactly something that people have been like begging for. Even though people would have acted like Duplessis was ducking the Strickland rematch if he fought Chimaev instead. Which they wouldn't have. But I've just noticed that when Strickland bigs himself up, everyone trashes him. And then when Duplessis trashes Strickland, everybody praises Strickland and trashes Duplessis. I can't speak today. Do a video. Like these dumb guys saying Muay Thai is better for martial arts. Honestly, dude, and I'll be real, how many more times do you have to see all of these different martial arts go into a boxing match in a boxing ring against a boxer and lose before you realize boxing's better? Let's get into it. Let's be real about it, dude. How many more times do you have to see someone else go into a boxing ring in a boxing match against a boxer to realize the boxing's better? Come on. No, Muay Thai is good. I do agree. But I just think if you're going to learn anything, like if I was going to teach anyone in like you've got 10 lessons with me, you're going to be in a street fight at some point. I'm teaching them how to throw hands. Like that is 100% going to happen. You know? Let's see a boxer do MMA and win. You seen Ilya throw a kick? No, but legit, certain fighters legitimately get to the top without throwing anything but like a low kick and some boxing, to be fair. Who do you think will have the biggest fall off this year? Feels like 2025. We will have a big guard change with many older fighters still in the top 5. We'll have a big guard change with many older fighters still in the top 5. Don't know, man. Who do I think will have the biggest fall off in 2025? Leon Edwards. I think Edwards will lose twice and then no one will discuss him ever again. Sad, but I can see that as a thing. Makhachev. I think Makhachev about to go on a slide. No, I'm joking. But he will lose to Arman. Yuri. Dude, it could be so sad. We could lose some great names this year. Oh, unbelievable. Edwards just landed a few jabs on JDM that might have taken him the round. Okay. Oh, Edwards gets a takedown after being up for 4 minutes. This is a round to Edwards, man. We have to see how the judges score it. Impression of Conor walking in on Habib. How many years of boxing and wrestling for a street fight? How many years of boxing and wrestling for a street fight? Are you asking how many years you should train for before getting into a street fight? You would lose regardless if that's your mindset. You should be able to win the majority of them now with no training if you're really about that. But remember, so you don't want to be starting street fights, guys. Now, like mini crimes, like get you 6 months, different, but some real risk. No wrestling for a street fight. What, you some coward? Thank you for the membership, Tall Volk. Appreciate you. I don't know. I honestly think, chat, yes or no, if you really took any martial art legit for just a year's time or even 6 months, you're all right. I think. I do think that. If you just do it for a year, I know that's biased because I only did Muay Thai for a year, but I did Taekwondo for way longer. I think if you just do any combat sport for about a year, you'll be all right. Typically. You'll at least know what you're doing. My stream's about to crash, by the way. I can sense it. What about the dude with Downs? I got kidnapped by a kid with Down syndrome, but I didn't get touched up by him or anything like that or anything. But I did get held hostage by a kid with Down syndrome when I was younger. Wasn't even a kid. It was probably like a teenager to me. But I was a kid anyway. But he kidnapped me. But it was fine. I didn't get touched up or anything, luckily. Every day for a summer? No, it wasn't every day for a summer. Well, what? Yeah, I got fucking held hostage at a pub by this kid with Down syndrome. He wouldn't let go of my wrist, and they were like trying to pry his fucking autistic grip off of my wrist, and they couldn't do it. And they were trying to convince him. And anytime they tried to like pry his hand away, he just like gripped it tighter for some reason. I just couldn't get away from him. There was a few, like, I don't know how long it was, but it felt like a few hours before where I was like silently sobbing to myself while he was just holding my wrist, because he just wouldn't let go. He liked me. He didn't used to. I don't know him beyond this one encounter, but he did. We were playing pool with my brother and some of their friends and some people from the local area. I think we were in Devon or some shit like that. Cornwall, Down syndrome central of the UK, I tell you. This is where like middle-aged old people go to have children. So they've literally got a 50% chance of having Downs. And he would say like, "You big boy, he's a big boy." He was doing that to me while I was trying to play pool. So I'd like go over the table for a pool shot and he would go, "Big boy," like that to me. Because I was like this big fat nugget of a kid, basically. And he just kept saying, "Big boy." And then at one point, I think we were taking turns playing pool, like we were doing team pool. And he like gripped my wrist when it wasn't my turn. And I swear to God, he had me hostage for about an hour. And I was trying to like get eye contact because I didn't want to insult him by saying, "This fucking retard's grabbing me, someone help." Because then it could like tend him into a frenzy where he like threw me through a fucking window or some shit. So he just was pinning my wrist next to him like I was his wife, basically. And I couldn't get my hand free from him. And I was like signaling to my brother. And my brother probably found it funny, so he just let it happen. And then eventually they were like, "Time to go," type thing. And then they started talking to him and he started having a schizo fucking breakdown and wouldn't let go of my wrist. And they had to pry his hand off of my wrist and make promises to him and like negotiate with him to let me go, basically. It was a mess. It was an absolute fucking mess. But he just held me and I couldn't move for about an hour. Well, I could move, but as long as it was following around him as his possession for like a solid hour, I'd say. I was like 10 years old, 9 years old, probably 8 years old, something like that. Was it Brendan Schaub? It was not Brendan Schaub. No, it was not. Thank you, young Master Dober. Appreciate the donor. What's up, brother? Conveniently leaving out the part where he rabidly bummed you. No, he didn't bum me, dude. It was literally the whole time we were right by the pool table. He just wouldn't let go of my wrist. Thanks for keeping me entertained while I suffer through work. Thank you for the 3 months of membership. No. Haha, wrist control. Literally one-handed wrist control. They couldn't get his hand off of my wrist. That kid grew up to be Tom Aspinall. Yeah, probably a similar age difference. He's probably a teen. He's probably an adult thinking about it. Just playing pool with us at a time. Thank you for the 11 months of membership. Watched. Thank you, Chef Ant. I appreciate that. Nang Talks Boxing. Thank you for the 80 pence, dude. Shout out to you. Do your thing. Down's impression of a big video on wrist control, but it's just the pool story. The pool story. Oh, the playing pool story. Oh, I don't know, man. Everybody, hey, somebody get this on you? Go home, brother. Stop training. Because you're going to make you crazy, brother. Did he make you hold his pocket like his prison girlfriend? No, he didn't make me hold his pocket. I just couldn't get my hand free. Roll your wrist towards the thumb. It works every time. Yeah, I was trying like little maneuvers. Don't get me wrong, but I was a child. So obviously I'm not going to have a stronger grip than an adult Down syndrome person who basically has the grip of 10 adults, essentially. Did he use you as the cue for playing Paul? No, he didn't use me as the cue for playing Paul. You've been live for 6 hours, man. Yeah, I ain't got nothing else in life. So once the stream goes off, I'll just have my head in my hands and have a fucking meltdown. So while I'm streaming, I have to pretend I'm happy, and maybe pretending to be happy is the ultimate way of achieving it. Is the Beanie Cult back? Choice. You know what I'm saying? Would be to step in with someone else's kid. It'd be tough, man. It'd be a tough one. They're pretty, but they're all annoying. Okay. I'm slacking off at work. Are you? Well done, good sir. Well, not well done, but hey, if you're getting paid by the hour and they don't care, then why should you? Something I always wished that they would do with work was have you work by the job. I'd work legitimately so much harder if I had a job to do and I could go home at the end of the day when it was done. I'd work so much harder. Honestly. I remember I used to skip my lunch breaks at a job once and go home like an hour early. Didn't tell them about it. And I got told off about that a lot. Like, no, we need to know you're in the building from this time till this time. So you need to, we're starting to be concerned that you're not having your lunch break. I know you guys are going to say, yeah, of course you were skipping lunch break. Stop lying. But all of this, but I genuinely was, and I got told off about it, for fuck's sake. I wish I could. I never wanted to have a lunch break because it wasn't a break. If I know I'm going back to work for another 4 hours after lunch break, it doesn't count as a break because all I'm thinking about is the dreaded going back for another 4 hours. Betty F's like a monster. Rogan on. Oh, DK Metcalf. Yeah, Gillis has a whole thing about that. You see what I mean, man? It just. These comedians with those jokes, they just get fucking weird about it, man. I don't know. It's like an extra sneak move, you know what I mean? Thank you for the 50,000 PYG, Lawrence. Thank you for the 10 quid. Hardcore MMA fans having to pretend 25 minutes of hugging against a cage is good watching is one of the funniest things for us casuals to see. I know. He hugged him so much better than the other guy. Dude, chat, can anyone else not understand how Rachmanov Gary wasn't unanimously trashed by the MMA fan base? It's a problem. It's an absolute problem. Wow, what a fight that they were actually acting like what a fight it was. Rachmanov's just built different, but Manny and Gary showed he belongs. It was such a shit, trash level fight. Embarrassing performance. Shamed the entire welterweight division. Shamed it. And I hated it didn't get booed out of the arena. Dog shit fight. Oh, he beat him with an injury. Ian Gary was probably injured as well. They all are. I ain't doing that shit. Other than when it's JDM and he blatantly breaks his arm in the middle of a fight. That's different. Sage Northcutt, thank you for the $3 Australian. Sergio Pettis had a good stint too. He did. Then he beat Horiguchi in Bellator after